Alright, it's time I talk about this, but, burnout. If I do a quick Google search right now, it will say that, let me check. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. Burnout happens to most people when they are doing an activity for a long time. Whether they like the activity or despise it, burnout will still happen. Over the past year, a lot of Dimefire players have been feeling burnt out, and some have even left the community. A lot of them being older players in the communities and the server's lifetime. Reasons may be because they're burnt out of the community or just making games in general. Or just making games in the server. I can't really say the reasons. I don't speak for them. I have also fallen victim to burnout over the quarantine, and it hasn't been the greatest. It started since I had all the time in the world in quarantine, and I spent a lot of time on Dimefire, just coding and making games as usual, but this time I had 7 days a week rather than, a little less than 4. I started a lot of projects, and that was one of my bad habits on the server, where I would be in the middle of a project and then start a new one, and then I just have so many projects I don't even know what to do with them. And that eventually leads to a lot of projects, having to be canceled, or delayed, or even discontinued, or held back, whatever. It does mean the same thing as what I said previously, but you get the idea. Some of the projects are still somewhat alive today. Not really. They're whitelisted and have little to no code. It's a bit sad for me, but whatever. The two main things I worked on during quarantine was Showtime 2 and Crystal Point. I worked on Showtime 2 with Endersalt's Z, I'll say like that. I don't care. I don't give much of a shit anyways. And a little bit of Sludge Evo. I also worked on Crystal Point with the Ploof and that's some other guy, I don't remember the name of it, but they built the map, and I'm going to use it one day. But that was going to be my solo project. I learned how to make a room system, and it was way easier than I expected, and it turned out being pretty good. I want to focus on Showtime 2, because, that one has a lot more, of a story, I guess. So, yeah. So, as I said, I gave Endersalt Z and Sludge Vivo developer permissions. I later removed them to work on the project myself because I wanted to do a solo project, but then that's when I was starting to get burnt out. I started working on the project every day, and then it eventually went to a couple times a week, to then once a week, to a couple times a month, and then that's it. I started getting really burnt out on Dimefire over quarantine. Making games was becoming less fun, and if anything, became a chore. I decided to give SludsView and Endersalts back their developer permissions, because I wasn't really going to work on it at that point because of the burnout, but when the project was finally finished after almost a year, I started to hate it. I felt I could have done better if it was just, mostly by me, or if I was a better developer. A lot of the code was sloppy, the plot felt lazy and messy, and nothing was organized. Everything was just there. And since I already said it, I'll say it again, it was a mess. I had this constant mindset of, I should be a better developer and, game developer or whatever, and it brought me down even more. Dimefire became a really annoying chore to do for me, and I'm no longer having fun making games, and if anything, my performance has been a lot worse, along with my knowledge decreasing. It takes me 3 days to do something I could have done in an hour or two because I just don't feel like doing the project, or actually anything, or coding after an hour or two, or actually 30 minutes. And it sucks. It really sucks for me, and I really want to go back into, creating things. Another factor of my burnout has been self-deprecation, which is constantly being critical about yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, self-deprecation in humor is always funny. Well, not always, but, you know, it's funny, and that's fine. What I mean is that, like, generally beating yourself up is not good and not healthy, and it's just plain stupid. You know, it's just hurting yourself over and over again with no gain and only digging yourself into a hole till you can't climb back up anymore. For the past year, I've been constantly making myself feel like shit by telling myself that I'm a shitty developer and I could or even should be better. I should learn more. Maybe I should know how to, you know, use Perl and stuff. Maybe I should make these types of games. Maybe I shouldn't. Will anyone even play my game? Is my game even good enough? I haven't published a new plot for months, and that plot was Showtime 2. Showtime 3 probably won't come for a while, if it even comes at all. I mean, I don't have any hope of it, but I'm not going to give the project away. Because it's mine, and I want it to stay mine. I say this because I've been contemplating leaving Diamond Fire and moving on with my life. However, my life hasn't even been the best for me, and I'm currently lost on what to do. And I have nowhere to go, in a way. Yeah, no, there's no, like, happy ending to this. This generally just sucks, and it affects a lot of people in this community. And, like, possibly could be the downfall. I mean, that's a bit far-fetched, but yeah. I have nothing else to say. See ya.